All right, guys, we're going to go over the Bitcoin chart. We'll take a peek at the DXY, and we will see what's going on with MATIC, because it does look like it broke that pennant to the downside, and right now it's riding at a level of support that we need to pay attention to. But yeah, I'll show you what I see on the inside here, guys, and we can take a trade that I'm looking at for Bitcoin. It's going to be a short-term trade, but it'd be a quick scalp to gain. Looks like roughly around about a 7% gain. So yeah, we'll go over this together, and I'll show you what I see on the inside, so maybe you can take action on it yourself. All right, cool. All right. So right now I'm looking at the 15-minute chart for Bitcoin. So right now I'm looking at what's this is called a rising wedge formation, and they're about 70% chance, 65 to 70% chance of breaking to the downside. Basically, what's happening when rising wedge is being formed is we have a lot of buy pressure coming in, and as we get tighter and tighter here, this is basically showing you the volume is starting to die and that the buyer's strength is starting to die along with it. So to have a reset, we see these break to the downside, and typically they'll come down, and the technical target of the formation is the base of the formation. But we do have to look out for support along the way that you got to look out for, just in case you might need to get out of the trade sooner. So if we entered a short, for example, which is now is technically a good time to actually enter a short. We got rejection off the VWAP. We got a breakout of the downside. We may come back up and retest this as an area of resistance and come back down. But technically, if you wanted to enter, like normally I would recommend entering with like 1 to 3% of your trading portfolio. But in this scenario, if we got some distance already, you would enter in with a lesser amount, so like 0.5% of your trade portfolio. And if it comes up to retest and you get that rejection, then you can add another 0.5%, improving your average while also like getting that confirmation entry and reducing your risk for when you want to put your stop loss in place. So your stop loss for this formation is always going to be the top of the most recent swing high, so be right around here. And knowing where you put your stop loss is going to help define what your risk to reward ratio is, to see if it's even worth taking the trade. So for example, if I want to put my short position tool out and I entered the short position now, and I put my stop loss right here, and my take profit is right around here, so my risk to reward ratio is 1 to 2.37. You want to make sure before you enter any of your trades that you're seeing a 2 right here. And so that means there's a 1 to 2 risk to reward ratio. If you follow through with a strategy of only picking trades that are a 2 or higher, your profits will always outweigh your losses, especially if you stay consistent with your leverage. So I'd recommend, like, because the loss for this one, for example, it's about 3%, I wouldn't even use leverage for this trade to get that 7% gain. You could use leverage, for example, 2x, but you're multiplying that risk, not just your gains. And with the fees that come associated with leverage trading, sometimes it eats away at your profits, and people don't realize that. But that's like a lesson all by itself, to be honest. But anyways, guys, with this trade, I would definitely be taking it. We put a stop loss roughly around just above this swing high, and that not only protects your capital, but it's the invalidation point for this formation. So like a whole new formation could be created if we hit above this level before we hit our price target. Now we do have an area of interest right here that we need to pay attention to. So if you see price action come down roughly around here, and we get let's say, for example, another reversal pattern like a double bottom or reverse head and shoulders, the moment you see it break that neckline, this is the moment where you should be closing most of your trade or all of your trade, especially if it's just a scalp trade. So yeah, that's the point of reversal. You can also do another method that I like to do quite a bit. It's where you just track the momentum. So if you start seeing a resistance point right here when it comes down, you'd start drawing a trend line like this. And the moment it breaks this momentum to the upside, this is a good time to close your trade as well. For example, if you enter a long down here and you're tracking this up trending level of momentum, which is also inside this rising wedge, this will be where you would close that long position. On unless it's a longer term long where you got it a lot lower than this. But if you enter off this Adam and Eve or this double bottom, then this is actually a good time to close your long position. Anyways, I went on for 5 minutes about this rising wedge formation. I'm sorry, guys. Let's go over to like MATIC. So MATIC right now, look at the 15-minute chart. So this is a continuation pattern, but we didn't end up going further to the upside, which makes a lot of sense considering we just had an insane amount of price action going to the upside for MATIC. So it's exhausted basically, and it broke to the downside. And this is the area of support that we want it to hold. So right now it's at like 85 cents. So if we get a bounce here, like a double bottom formation, then yes, you can enter along and continue going closer and closer towards the next area of interest at like $1.06. But if we break this, guys, we could see, MATIC going back down to around 79 cents, where it's using this little consolidation period as support. There's not really there's like an inverse broadening wedge here. Yeah, there's like a broadening wedge here. So like the technical target is the bottom of the formation around 61 cents. But we were probably going to get a bounce way before that and build a whole new formation. Some targets are just not possible, especially with the bullish news that's coming in with MATIC, with Disney. But anyways, guys, yeah, with break to the downside, look for a support bounce around 78 cents. If you don't see a bounce, then you can close. Then you can just stay in that that short position, and move your stop loss further and further in the profit zone. So basically, I would draw horizontal lines here, and then you should have an additional horizontal line just above it. And you should do this with all your trades, by the way. I'd recommend putting like a dotted line that doesn't actually represent a level of support, and they're just using it as a price alarm. So you just get notified when it hits this price, so you get a warning that we're getting close to an area of support. So maybe you want to react off of this bounce, if there is one, and get out of your trade earlier. So you're only looking at the chart when it's fully necessary. Now, once we get the breakdown to the downside, you'd use any form of like consolidation or a bounce in the price action for your stop loss. We don't really have anything like that, but if, let's say, for example, it collapsed right now, I would probably put it roughly around like 86 cents, like right above this little area of resistance. It's very, very small, but it's enough to, find a decent place to put your stop loss without, putting yourself at too much risk by having a stop loss way up here. Anyways, and you can use the average true range indicator as well to help tell you where to put your stop loss, because it'll be like let's create this alarm first really quick, and I'll show you what I mean. There's an indicator called average true range trailing stop loss strategy by Sylvian the names are always kind of, anyways. This is what it looks like right here. So this is telling you where you should put your stop loss based on the previous price action of the latest 14 candles. It measures the volatility, and it basically tells you where you should put your stop loss. So as prices go down further, this will go down further with it, telling you where you should put your stop loss in place. This is great for beginners, for knowing where to put your stop loss. And it's also great for if you have a bot that can communicate with it. It will constantly keep trailing your stop loss and following the price action, and it won't get hit unless there's a lot of volatility that comes into play. It's a great tool to use to communicate with bots if you're more of a longer term trader. Anyways, that's pretty much everything I got for the MATIC trade, guys. Basically, if we get a break to the downside, this is our first take profit area. You can look at this as well as the second take profit area, and you can use horizontal lines as tools to help you get an alert for knowing when we're about to get to that price action, so you can be aware of what's going on and look at the charts when it's only necessary. It's a really healthy practice to make sure that you're not staring at the charts all day with your trades. But that's pretty much everything, guys. The DXY, it's still doing its thing. It's looking more bearish. To track the momentum, I would do something like this. It does look like it broke its downtrend momentum and is starting to go to the upside. So this is an area where we need to paying attention to recent price action where we had bounces that could act as resistance instead of support like it did in the past to help us with our long position trade. So if we start seeing a price action that could cause it to go down, that could help support quite a bit with our long position trades, because as the DXY goes down, Bitcoin tends to go up. We're also tracking this uptrending level of support right here, and if this breaks, it's going to be pretty bad for the US dollar, honestly. It could go down to like 103 again. Anyways, yeah, that's everything I got for you guys. If you have any like recommendations for certain assets you would rather me talk about, like you want me to try to find trading opportunities for certain assets, like something more along the lines like a Cardano or Theta, you can comment about that in the comment section down below, and I can start adding that to my routine for the TA Today episodes to give you guys as much value as I possibly can. The only thing I ask for in return is to press that subscribe button, please. Like I'm not a salesperson, but I love to educate, and trying to educate more and more people by getting more subscribers would be a pretty amazing opportunity. Anyways, that's everything I got for you guys. You have yourself an amazing day, and thank you for watching.